Looks like we're headed to Plan B, which is, I believe, Yosh versus monaters.
Yeah, Yosh or Yosh. I'm not sure which it is. I've been saying Yosh, but who knows? I could be wrong.
I think both work. I just don't know which one's correct.
Well, we could each say one so that one of us is guaranteed to be right.
I'm being told that Yosh rhymes with Josh in this case.
Oh
So,
dear. Okay, good to know. All right, I take the correction.
all right. Now, uh, let me see if I can locate. Here we are. Yosh versus monaters. So, Yosh opens the draft by choosing small gatherings, which is terrace, balcony, high rise, pub. Monaters chooses back to the classics, which is one of the ones we just saw. It's ballroom, courtyard, library, veranda. Yosh bans library. Monaters bans high rise. So, this is what your final draft looks like in this case. And we are starting out on Ballroom with Monaters on the Spy and Yosh on the Sniper, I believe.
Correct.
All right, perfect. Let's get this thing underway without any further ado. It's match number 2. Monaters on the Spy, Yosh on the Sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And Monaters starting things out at a painting.
Yep. Well, again, I mentioned mission density on Tayen. Ballroom's kind of similar like that. You can afford, as long as you move around pretty regularly, it doesn't actually take that much time to do so.
51% off the first flirt in conversation with the double agent as well. Not gonna take it, instead going for the bug around the back. Double agent was at the back statues there, and Matters actually went between him and the wall for a pretty nice bug, all things considered, but it might not be enough. Yosh is able to pick up the highlight from it. So we'll see how this progresses. How big a highlight is this?
Yeah, there were a lot of zoom movements right around it, which means it's probably going to be hard to be sure the bug happened, but the path itself is sometimes reason enough. And the highlight is really just absolutely massive because if you get away with the bug clean on ballroom against all but the best behavioral snipers, I think you're usually going to win that game. But if you get that highlight, if you have that suspicion, that's a different thing entirely. But if it's just suspected and you do a soft tail finish after this with a couple minutes between now and then, a couple other bug suspicious paths from other characters maybe, it can be easy to forget you suspected them for. Hard to take the shot when they finish steadily after that.
Back in conversation with the seduction target we go. Is able to hit the second green test, so that's 2 missions done with 2 minutes still to play. This is fast from Monaters.
Yeah, between the character, the early walking bug, and the 2 flirt and the aggression, are we sure this isn't just another OP game?
Yeah, I mean, it's looking similar.
Very much.
Maybe not quite as fast as OP tends to be, but it's pretty quick either way. In conversation with the double agent as well, conversations are starting to fill up.
Yeah, and that light is
No
back down, by the
contact
way.
yet.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that. The light
that's
gets brought back on.
great to see for Monaters. Not able to get the contact off before the double agent steps away, but still has over a minute and 15 left on the clock. Now going for. Nope, double agent is like, no, I'm not dealing with this. There's not enough people in this conversation.
So maybe that was a probationary highlight. It was, I suspect them of the bug. Let's see if they act like a spy right after this. And then when they don't, particularly for the next couple of minutes, we switch to highlights for other things.
Center statue in the back. So that's going to be a third mission completion unless we miss a bunch of green tests. And I think he hit all 3 of the green tests.
Wasn't
So
necessary, but sure.
that center statue's done. 40 seconds to play, 1 mission to go. Contact is still available. And double agent is in conversation. There are a decent number of partygoers out, but we don't have the
This is good enough.
luxury of waiting. We are
Yeah.
in the beep beeps. The contact comes off. What's the reaction from Yosh? The reaction from Yosh is to shoot Monaters.
Very good shot. That's exactly what I was talking about, where you get the bug early and then you sort of let the suspicion decay by doing a nice steady game afterwards. Win the boring way, space everything out, and they do get bumped back down light-wise. But in the end, it's just a little too much activity late. It's a contact shortly after entering. It's center statues. And if they remember the bug suspicion, that can be enough. And they did. I think that's just a memory shot there, remembering why they were suspicious, realizing this is
And
the
in the
end,
red.
and knowing that monaters does like to get missions done.
Yeah, that was a big shot from Yosh. It looked like Monaters had that game locked up, but it wasn't meant to be. Yosh now on the spy, Monaters on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And I don't know how much Monaters has studied Yosh, but the big thing that jumps out to me is that Yosh has played 11 games in my database on Ballroom and has not reached Countdown yet. So you're going to want to wait him out.
Starting at the back statues at the side for Yosh, so a couple of inspects super early on, and that immediate highlight as well.
Yeah, and it's not just Ballroom, by the way. Timed out 36% in the last SCL season, which is 3 to 4 times the division average, which is Challenger. Granted, a very small, short division, and we're just talking about a few dozen spy games, but very low mission win rate, very high timeout rate. Obviously, gets a decent number of civ shots, but that's the thing. You need to hold.
51% on the first flirt, so Yosh moving pretty quickly as well. That highlight is not a big one, it's just a routine statue highlight, but it is a highlight nonetheless, and especially when you're trying to get bugs, that can be problematic.
And this is actually pretty decent progress from Yosh. The question is it about finishing, though? It might be one of those things where the spy is very happy to get a lot of soft tells done, but the big scary thing, the hard tell, right, or the second print or what have you, that's the thing that's hard to get done, to find the right spot for, and that's how you end up timing out sometimes. Sometimes it's that you don't do anything, but sometimes it's just that you're not willing to do that last big scary thing.
In conversation with the selection target once more, setting up for the second flirt. Actually, it's going to be a purloin. It's going to be a white test.
Oh,
it's
dear.
going to be an invisible fade, but the drink is quite clearly gone. And this might just be a bullet.
Well, it's narrowed down. Our seduction target, who is standing next to us, gets highlight just in case, I think, but Monaters definitely seems to have a general geographical sense of where this purloin took place.
Absolutely. There's the flirt coming off. It's a white test to bring us up to 85%. And what started out looking brilliant for Yosh is slowly starting to slip away. And now I'm getting worried.
Well, that's the problem now. You're kind of committed to hoping for the civ shot now. Whether you wanted to get into Countdown this game or not, contrary to your usual spy, I don't know if you can now. Your best bet might actually be just hoping that your seduction target gets shot.
Just over a minute to play. I think you're right. I don't think Yosh can afford to commit to anything here. Even with that hardtail done, there's no way we're gonna survive both the statue visit and a contact.
Maybe not even one of those things.
45 seconds. There's the flirt getting finished up, but once again, that is not the story of the game. The story of the game is who, if anyone, does Monaters pull the trigger on?
Well, so that's where the purloin helps a little bit. If the party's pretty narrowed down and your main suspects don't do that much, it makes it that much easier to hold, because with the purloin, you figure I probably don't have to worry about a bug I missed too, because 2 hardtails is less likely.
Here's
And
the
in the red.
contact.
Yep.
And that's the shot right away. Doesn't even wait for the second statue visit. That's enough.
Yeah.
And it's 1-1.
We're even with the other highlight. We both stood there the entire time. What that really tells you is that they were almost positive about that purloin, and they shot the moment the spy could conceivably be done. They just waited them out. Obviously, we're just waiting for an excuse there. Otherwise, if they really did think it could have been the seduction target just for being in that general area, they probably don't shoot right then.
Next stop, pub 3 of 5 with 12 guests. Monaters on the spy side, Yosh on the sniper. It's 1-1. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Starting out at the bar with the seduction target, and it's a red flirt. Bye!
Yikes. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Might have just been trying to rush it a little bit, worried that the seduction target's going to leave, and that's when you get red flirts sometimes. Usually when you have to rush them because they're not in a conversation, they're at a pad and you know they're going to leave soon.
They weren't going to leave, though. They were in the middle of requesting a drink.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just a double click by accident. Who knows?
Or you just, like, it was near the edge and you whiffed it.
Yeah, could be.
Fingerprint off the briefcase, though.
Look at this.
Perlman
Swap
off, swap off. So
yeah,
that's unusual.
Yeah, well, this is 3-5, not 3-6 like you're used to seeing in SCL with inspect automatically turned off. So you can just leave that on. And with that in fingerprint, it looks like we're just hoping it's bug plus the 2 soft tail finishes, which give you potential sieve shots, of course. But it doesn't look like monaters is interested in fishing for one of those. Between a fingerprint and this early inspect, looks like they've got their eye on finishing. But with fingerprint, maybe they can finish with a silent game.
Wouldn't that be nice? So the inspect is done. The highlight is there. So anyone who goes to the statues is going to be painting a target on their backs. But we do also have that early print. The bug on the way through? No bug.
Very interesting, because you could take the other side of that conversation, not be suspected of one, unless the whole point is to say, look, I'm not bugging. But I don't think that's it. That's the kind of thing you do against basically just the elite snipers. But on pub, it's arguable at least. It really is important, though, that we got that green test, because we waited a long time to get the first flirt in.
First flirt for 51% is indeed there. Fingerprintable briefcase, so that's the print done. Still a minute and 25 on the clock, so even though we're bringing this all the way inside, this should still be enough time to make sure this seduce gets done.
Yeah, and now we're 1 flirt away, potentially. But again, we're going to be suspected of a bug we're not taking. Look at this.
Yeah. that little bug train went on for way too long.
Yeah, please bug me, please bug me, please bug me. And the spy just says, no, I already have fingerprint done. I'm not trying to bug you.
Back
Go
in
away.
Conversation with the seduction target, 45 seconds. The seduction target steps away. Now we need a green test.
Now we're gonna need a green test, almost definitely. Or maybe we wish we'd taken that bug. I don't know. And where's the seduction target gonna go? All the way over there. By the time we get there, she's gonna be somewhere else. We need to hope she goes somewhere where we can meet her in the middle. And we're gonna have to leave soon to try to line it up and hope she doesn't pass us going the other direction. And then we're gonna need the action test for the win.
We're in the beep beeps now.
Uh-oh.
It is
Tight
settling
spot.
in conversation, but there's no room
Tight
next
spot.
to her.
Can you squish in? You can. We're trying to talk before 10 seconds, though. And that
green test.
Yosh is looking at it, though. They're really thinking about this.
Does he take the shot?
No.
Not take the shot, and monaters in unnecessarily dramatic fashion takes the win in game number 3.
And look at this. The seduction target leaves right afterwards, too. It was almost disastrous again, but monaters with the clutch green and the silent pub game.
That was awesome.
And we have the slow seduction target, too, so we can't even figure out where they're going to land. Walk so slow. I call that the pub crawl, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. Big win for monaters. Big win.
Big win. And now it's Yosh under the gun on the spy side against monaters' sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. And it is going to be another bar start. Once again with Purloin off, this time with no seduction target in sight to red test.
Yeah, none at all. We're just going to grab the drink instead. The question is, are we going to do anything with it?
I mean, what are you going to do with it? There's no Purloin.
Yeah, so nothing. I guess you're just going to use it to shed suspicion, which is what you're doing because you're going to an NP conversation. You might be obligated to take this briefcase, except it looks like a cast member is going to beat you to it. And it
gets
thought about it. Wait a second. We stayed for another idol after that sip. We stayed for another idol. That's the spy. That is the spy.
Yeah, we found him.
But did monaters? Because here's the thing. They low-lit and then they brought them back up immediately, so they were looking at least. Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
I don't think monaters caught this.
I don't know. Remember, monaters did hold that shot after the purloin for
true.
about a minute and a half. But
Oh,
I
there's
think they might not have been expecting it, yeah. And the fact that we're being stared at doesn't really matter because the ambassador's there. That might be the main thing.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think we might have gotten away with a little etiquette error.
I think so.
It's not a tiny little edge case, though. The idle stuff is pretty well known at this point, so I don't know. It's just not the kind of thing you expect. That's an animation break on the SIP, though. I know General always looks like he's doing that, but I'd say that one was a little more noticeable than most. So he's given monaters a couple opportunities here to catch him on etiquette stuff, but he hasn't done it yet. He also hasn't flirted yet, though, and that's going to become a problem pretty soon.
Yeah. Sort of trying to find this first flirt. Hasn't been able to get a single one as of yet. Now is the opportunity. Double agent in here. Yeah, it's not a pet. All right, we're in the conversation now. This is just death.
And there's the highlight.
I
Yeah.
think this is just death.
It's just one thing too many. You know, I think we're a little fortunate we got away with maybe the first couple of things, but there's still no reason to shoot. Monaters is an experienced, disciplined sniper who is going to wait to shoot until they have to. The question is it going to be like that ballroom game where the moment you have any reason to shoot, you do?
It's a red flirt. Everything's going wrong for Yosh. Everything is going wrong for Yosh. Nothing is going right for Yosh because it's all going wrong.
Those are the two ways it can go, right or wrong.
And they're all going the way that's not right.
They're all going the not right way. And we do get bumped back down just for hanging around. But look at this. The cast list is just
we
so
don't have
small now.
A flirt yet. How do we play this without a flirt?
No, I know. It's just, I mean, it's the pacing issue again, and this is something we see from newer players in competitive. It's the pacing is very hard at first. It's one of the first things that newer spies struggle with, and it's almost everyone, by the way, has this problem. This is not a Yosh thing.
Also, it's one of the first things to go when you're stressed out. Oh my God! Monaters takes a shot, and Yosh wins the game.
It just works anyway. Well, look. That's why having inspect on in this format instead matters because Pearl's there, white dress, had inspects, has a real contact, and then she's in there, and looks like, let me see, talking at the end of the game? Yep, talking at 22 seconds. Looks like a spy finishing, it sure does. So I think it's safe to say, though, none of those etiquette errors caught.
Yeah, I think maybe he was suspicious of the missed pad because the slow pan over into highlight was pretty obvious, but it wasn't enough of a catch to be willing to take something on it.
No, I mean, there's enough occlusion, enough people. It was kind of behind the people in that conversation. So it could be one of those things where just out of the corner of your eye, you see a little jerky motion. But again, this might actually be where the character selection helps you because General is known for that. General has a lot of jerky animations. And very often, when I know they're an AI, I still think I see what looks like an animation break. So it might have been that a little bit. We might have been helped by the fact that it's very easy out of the corner of your eye to say, nope, it's not an animation break. It's not a mispad. It's just General. And besides, they're not doing anything anyway.
Fair. All right, on to the next one we go. It's tied at 2. Monaters on the spy, Yosh on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Tough to game plan for Monaters on Courtyard. Purloin and Bug about equally as likely, and they have a lot of experience on it too. Has played dozens of competitive games on Courtyard specifically. One thing though, you want to watch out for prints on Briefcase. They like Briefcase for their prints when they go for prints at all on Courtyard, which isn't often, mind you, but when they do, it's Briefcase.
Opening the game in conversation with a nice little early contact and an immediate step away into the other conversation with a suspected double agent in it. But this one also has a seduction target, so that's why we're here. The flirt's done. We're done the flirt. We're done the flirt. We're done the contact. What is happening in this game?
Jeez. When I'm at a party and I want to flirt with someone, I'm still working up the nerve to approach them initially, and Monaters has already sealed the deal.
Into statues we go. Pair of inspects. That's going to be the third mission. Just swap it. Please swap it.
I mean, look. Oh, there's a fingerprint instead. There's a fingerprint instead, and we could just Briefcase for the win.
This is amazing. I love this so much.
The swap is pretty tempting because, again, unless you get immediately shot, you just win the game. Someone's beating us the Briefcase here, but we could try for a difficult as soon as Plane Twin puts this down.
That might be a little bit bold.
Yeah, it is, but look at this.
Feeling a little bit bold. All right, this is fine. I don't think there's a print on this anymore.
Not anymore. That was the difficult. But here's the thing. It's bold, but Softail finish at 2 minutes? That's unheard of.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's almost unheard of. There have been rushes on Courtyard, but they involve purloins, they involve swaps, they involve bugs. They don't involve fingerprint.
This game is amazing.
Jeez. Well, now we just wait, I guess.
Yeah,
Hope the
now we
ambassador
can
puts
just
that
take
back
our
down.
time, wait for the ambassador to put his hands on something, and then just win, I guess.
Well, they've put the briefcase back down in a different conversation. We could go force them away. I don't think anyone is within their proximity, so I don't think they're going to have to leave. They're going to have to choose to leave on their own if someone doesn't settle near them or if we don't go settle near them, which might be what we're about to do.
Nope, it's not close enough. I don't think Rocker is in range to do personal space issues.
No, they're not. He would have left by now. You're going to take a drink, though. You got to get rid of this drink in your
Oh,
hands.
that's
Yep, we're going to
big.
gulp it. We're going to gulp it.
There's the request. We got it in time, too.
There it is. And if we're not suspected for the gulp, can we really shoot for this print? It's a pretty quick take. And this is going to be a win?
I think this is a
or
win.
At least a countdown.
I don't think there's any way Yosh gets this. This is
a few more seconds.
Absurd game of Courtyard.
Yeah, we almost had it done a minute and a half earlier than this. That is just fast.
Well played, monaters. Good gravy.
Paint flames on the side of those knee-high boots.
All right. So, that's another win for monaters, who is now on the sniper side, up by 1. Yosh on the spy, looking to keep this even in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Jeez, that's just a really, really strong win for monaters there. I like the decision to go for briefcase. The thing is, they weren't eyeing up briefcase, so they didn't know whether or not there was a difficult or whether or not it was totally smudged. So I actually don't mind it very much. It obviously could have cost them the game, but if there is a difficult on it and you hit it, it's basically a 95% chance you win right then and there. And even if you don't, there's a pretty good chance you win later, which is, of course, exactly what happened. We did have to gulp that drink, though, but we got it in just under the wire. Great game.
Apparently, Yosh was ready to shoot after the briefcase, but was waiting for a talk.
Well, that's the power of that crazy, quick two-flirt, yeah.
Yeah, that was absurd. That two-flirt was silly. 51% on the flirt to start the game for Yosh, but it's not done.
No, it's not done. It's not the same. We've been spoiled by the aggressive flirts today, Tobo. We've seen some really, really aggressive.
We've seen some really spy play in general, and it has been a pleasure. I have been here for it. Into the statues we go is Yosh for a pair of inspects and a highlight to go with it.
That turn into statues, I think, was a little too wide, and I didn't see anyone blocking a path, so I think that's a little something too. But again, we haven't been caught for most of this. The real question is about that fingerprint. Print, indeed, with the inspects, and that's pretty good progress. If the path isn't noticed, then we're actually looking pretty good.
Indeed, we are. Kind of bullied out of conversation by the twin there, so that was a little bit unfortunate. Minute and 35 left to play. Our spot gets stolen, too.
Oh, respect your elders, people.
Heading over towards the double agents to set up for the contact instead. Very full conversation, so this is a great time for it.
Oh, this is excellent. Yeah, you do this right here. If you can get it before anyone else leaves, you're in really good shape.
Josh?
Come on, you gotta do it. 2 highlights are in conversation now. You're not gonna get a better chance than this. You gotta do it right now. Gotta do it.
You gotta right click.
You're waiting for Queen because Queen's at statues, but that's greedy. But we get rewarded for our greed.
No,
we don't.
We bails.
We were waiting for the last person, I think, to enter. We were waiting for a perfect contact because it was a statue visitor, maybe, but it would have been so good even before that. Oh, no.
She's back.
Well, you'll still take it. And it's surprisingly still a pretty good time to do it. Come on, you're getting another opportunity. Lightning is striking twice. Time for you to strike. Do it.
You gotta hit it, Yosh. Oh,
do it. Do it.
SDA's out. Nope, SDA's gone.
Oh, goodness. That really hurts. That really hurts. That was going to be a really good position for the spy if they hit that contact early.
If he tries it now, okay, people are stepping away. I don't think he's going to try it now.
No,
but grief. It was so good.
It was so good, and then it was pretty good the second time, too, and with less time on the clock, your standards have to drop as well.
7 seconds.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Comes off.
They bailed with 4 seconds. Nothing was happening anyway. We just waited way too long. We got greedy on the contact, and I can understand that a little bit, but the second opportunity you had when they came back, I think you need to at least take it then because 40 more seconds have gone by. So your standards have to drop as the clock drops.
Oh my god.
That's a
That
rough
was
one.
something.
Yeah, it was a really strong start to that game, and then just wanting a little too much out of what it would have been a very good contact. And look,
Yeah.
monaters has shown, and this is the key, they've been showing a lot of patience at sniper. Forcing that timeout is really good. It means they're not biting on the civ shots. The only civ shot, of course, was that pub game where I think the AI could have literally been done.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been a pretty big few holds on the sniper side from monaters. Yosh now down 4-2, and on the other side of Terrace looking to start pulling this back in his direction in 3-2-1, playing it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think it's not just that Monaters is winning these games, it's that specifically they're showing a ton of patience against a spy where that's a pretty good lineup. That's a pretty good match for this particular spy who does have trouble getting to countdown so far. So, and patience is not something that people can just turn off or on. It's a very hard thing to follow through on if you're used to shooting most of the time. So it bodes very well for Monaters the rest of the match. Obviously, just given that they have the lead as well.
Yeah. 24% on the flirt is considerably different than Monaters' last spy game.
Yeah, and it's Terrace, so I don't think you want to play it the same way anyway.
This is true. 24 is not a number you're particularly happy to see, no matter what the venue, though. Into the bar we go to pick up a delegate. Presumably. Indeed, we do.
Swap the mission off, by the way, 3-6, pretty standard. And we get low lit for some reason. This might be,
What?
well, hang on, it is Terrace. This might be some kind of bar tracking.
Yeah,
system.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking lowlights are not being used as lowlights, they're being used as bar tracking. That would make sense on a venue like this. There's the green flirt on the second one, up to 63%, which still isn't enough.
These are not numbers we're used to seeing on the seduction meter. The only downside with using low lights to track things like that is that it makes you a little more susceptible to really good bugs while the low light is in effect. But that's a pretty low risk overall because you can still see a lot of what's going on. And if you pay special attention to low lights near the ambassador, you can usually try to have it both ways.
That is very true. There's the contact coming off. And now the double contact.
Yep, and highlights for real too, and that bumps us back up.
And you'll notice, cleaned up all of his bar lowlights while he was doing that as well. There's the shot, by the way. That was just a very good shot.
It was a correct shot. The question is, was he sure? Is he have him on the delegate to Orange Sorry there? The timer expires, so the timing throws me off a little bit. It's a reasonable suspicion, but I wonder if that shot was taken with certainty. Let's put it that way.
I think he interrupted himself, didn't he?
Well, if he did, that would have been a really, really good catch. Let me see here. Yeah, I think he might have with the second fake.
Yeah.
Really good catch then in that case. Wow. Yeah, nice job.
That's a big shot.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing you would miss with the low light. So the fact they were brought back up from the first contact probably helped the animation break be noticeable on the second. So if you take a few seconds to bring everybody back up, maybe you don't catch it, and who knows if you win that game. But instead, they react quickly to the first contact, helps them see the second with the animation break, and is only down 1 now.
Very good stuff indeed. Has a chance to tie things at 4 from the spy side of Terrace. Monaters looking to maintain that lead in 3-2-1, playing it.
Well, the slow play can work again. It worked on Pub because it's the kind of venue that's good for it and good for civ shots when AIs finish. And Terrace can actually be the same way here with Inspect and Fingerprint on potentially. So I don't know if Yosh has to change their habits anytime soon.
This is very true. Relatively slow start from Yosh with some little bit of weirdness. Sometimes people just stand in the very center of conversations near the start of the game, and that's just a thing that happens, and we need to be okay with it.
Yeah, well, it's not really clear if it's more or less suspicious. I would say shallow conversation placement mid-game, pretty suspicious, but at the start of the game, maybe less so.
This is very true. That is a very full conversation right there. People are starting to step away, and break out into their own little cliques, but into conversation we go with the seduction target at exactly the wrong side of the conversation without the seduction target, without the double agent there having just bailed. Fake contact anyways.
And letting off 2 lowlights. That's a lot to pay for a fake. Obviously, you're going to want to contact again to get this suspect pool a lot bigger, or you're just trying to put so much suspicion on the couple of people who could have a real. But I think trading 2 lowlights for this a little too much. I think we were too patient with the courtyard contact, and now we're not patient enough with this one. Maybe.
I agree. It'll be interesting to see how well we track the 2 people that got highlight from that contact.
Yes.
Into the bar we go looking for a delegate, so it'll be interesting to see what we do with that as well.
When only a couple people could have a real contact and the sniper knows it, it really can go either way. Obviously, now they can be pretty confident that only these 2 people are likely to finish without a lot of mission progress elsewhere, so they're more likely to hold. On the other hand, there's going to be so much more attention paid to both of them that if one of them does look like they're finishing, the odds that they'll get shot go way, way up. So it's really a high risk, high reward kind of thing, whether it's done intentionally or not. But if Twin goes to those far right statues at any point, that could be enough.
Twin steps into conversation. The double agent steps away, though. I think that's what we were waiting for to take the real contact. Just over a minute to play, no mission completions. This isn't looking great. The timer is not Yosh's friend right now.
The timer will only be your friend when it feels like it's being respected.
That is true.
Oh, look at this. Yosh not Yosh, rather. The twin, the highlight twin, breaks animation because they're interrupted in the other conversation.
Takes the purloin! Doesn't even see it! The shot comes off on General, who wasn't even one of the highlights, but was, I think, in that conversation.
Wow. That's not what I expected. I thought there was a decent chance one of these highlights was going to get shot instead, but instead it's just General, and it's a quick shot after. When you're right, I don't think General could have been done, which is very unusual given that we saw monaters hold on those other games, despite the fact that they, obviously had very, very strong suspicion. So it's a slightly more aggressive shot, and it actually pulls the match back into a tie.
So it's 4-4 at this point going into Veranda. Monaters on the spy side on a much, much larger venue than the last. Let's see how this plays out in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get the same thing out of monaters on the sniper side on Veranda. We might get a rush swap here, though, because I'm not sure that was protected by Yosh.
Yep, it is in fact
it's a green!
Swap, but he greens it!
Oh no, is it muscle memory working against us? You don't want that.
That's
oh
not
no.
How play works.
Oh,
okay,
geez.
well, this could be fine.
It could be, but I don't think that's maximizing your chances because you might be suspected anyway, right up until the moment when it changes. So either they don't notice it changes.
That's just a bug coming in. There was so many people in the way. That's a beautiful bug. Here's the swap coming off. There it goes. I don't think Yosh
we're gonna rush. We're committed. I think the plan is
contact.
Yep, once we hit the... Yep, and there's a purloin that's come off in the meantime. 3 hardtails are done. 1 inspect. Half the flirt is done.
Fast.
I think once we greened it, we realized we were committed to the rush, which is why we've gulped this drink, and we're going to go right into finish inspects and try to flirt while the lowlights are being taken. It's another rush here.
Back in the statues we go for the second pair of inspects, and then 1 more green flirt is all we need. No, it's not going to happen. Yosh is a little bit too on top of things. Caught something or other enough to be confident enough to take that shot on monaters.
Well, once you know the swap has happened, maybe you suspect the bug from that pileup, and once you see the guest list is gone, your brain is screaming, rush, rush. And if it's a rush, who's the only person finishing inspects already? It's this character who was at statues at the beginning of the game too. If you are confident a rush is happening, this is probably the only person who it could be.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's still a hell of a shot, though.
Yeah, it's a tough shot to take. It's one of those things where if you could pause time and really think about it, you'd almost always get it right, but you don't have that luxury in the moment, and it's very, very stressful when you see those hardtails dropping like dominoes in front of you, and you start to panic and think, what is going on? That cascade of mission progress. In the moment, it can be surprisingly hard to puzzle it out. So Really good presence of mind there from Yosh.
And that is a game lead from Yosh as we step into the next one. Yosh on the spy, monaters on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And this is the real test because, again, you can't get Softail finishes here. You're almost definitely not going to be able to frame here. And sure enough, look at Yosh just saying, already, AI control, I have very little intention maybe of finishing this, which means we're going to be looking for swap frames, maybe purloin chains, maybe time adds. Just try to test monaters a little bit more. But it's very hard to imagine that we're going to get a nice, clean mission win countdown kind of level of progress here. And there it is. There's the time add, as I just discussed.
Well, nice to see it early if it's going to happen.
If it's gonna happen, yep, you gotta know. I mean, look, kudos for knowing that this is probably going to be a problem and playing this kind of game from the start rather than just sort of hanging around, hoping you get lucky, and then rushing late. So this is the way to do it if you're going to do it.
Absolutely. 51% on the seduce for the first flirt. So that's not too bad, but I'm gonna have to make use of it eventually.
Yeah, and we might as well do things like this, low suspicion things, even if we have very little intention of finishing. You never know. You can get some flirts in. Maybe you get one inspect in. Give yourself just a few options just in case. Pretty unlikely, though. I don't know if we want to be walking by the ambassador, though.
Hey, that was possibly the buggiest non-bug path I've ever seen.
Yeah, so now we're going to have potentially a lot of suspicion, even though I don't think the plan here is necessarily to finish. We should be looking around.
Inside, too.
Yeah, we're credited for a bug we didn't take in a game I don't think we intend to try to complete on.
Yeah, so there's a statue visit with a pair of inspects. Still just have that 51% on the flirt, although we just now are stepping in to try to get another, but no, she's stepping away from us, so that's not going to happen.
Well, it doesn't matter too much. Honestly, the only thing we need to be doing if we're Yosh at this point is looking around for frame targets, moving around the party so you can actually see both sides. You actually don't want to be in this conversation because you can't rotate your spy camera and see everything that's happening on the other side. I think you want to be in the conversation where Toby is out front so you can potentially rotate and see where everyone is because all you care about is the frame at this point. If you're dedicated to the frame, then position yourself accordingly so you know who to frame.
There's the next flirt coming off, up to 76%.
Yeah, like we don't know what's happening on the other side of the venue. We don't know if somebody is over there incriminating the heck out of themselves. We don't know if someone's going to that statue, bumping by the AMBA, what have you. We have no idea. So I think if you want to frame here, it's a perfectly valid thing to do, especially if you're just not confident you can get to countdown. But you're in a position where you don't know who to frame. You maybe are just keeping an eye on a couple things. Maybe you're only going to notice statue visitors who are near you, and it cuts your suspect list in half potentially.
Into the green bookcase we go. Not a lot of progress, minute and 45 left to play, but I really don't think finishing is the intent right now.
No, and I can understand holding the book to look inconspicuous, but I think at this point it's actually more important that your hands be free for everything in case you need to rush something. And again, in case you want to frame, if you want to swap frame or purloin frame or something, hop on a reject list chain or something, but particularly the swap frame, which is your most powerful tool, your hands need to be free for that. So I think we're not seeing actions consistent with the highest percentage likelihood of success for a frame, which is keeping your hands free and being able to see the whole party. Those are the two things you need to do once you've decided to play the game this way.
1 minute to play. I don't know. Monaters has shown a lot of patience in this set.
Yes.
This is going to be hard. We need to find a way to really actively frame somebody here.
Yeah, I think so, but we don't have a good way to do it. The two best ways you can do it are with the swap and the purloin, and we've just got this book in our hand.
30 seconds. Well,
and we're putting it in red, and we're putting it in red.
This is not where this book came from.
No, I think at this point you have to be realistic about completes. If you're not going to complete, and it doesn't look like you possibly can, then you don't want to be completing these missions. You want to really sell out on the frame. You want to make them hold. You have to be willing to lose the game via timeout.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to do that, but that means setting up the whole game for it. If you try to do both things at once, you just get this.
Indeed.
Just pulled in two different directions. You got to pick a direction, I think, is basically the way to go. It doesn't mean you can't go into a rush at the end, but I think you have to know what you want to do and plan accordingly. And if you're sitting there with 20 seconds left and you're thinking, well, look, I almost definitely can't finish, then don't try to. Do something else.
Onward to balcony at this point. It is 5-5, still tied up. Last venue. Here we go. monaters starting things off on the spy side. Yosh on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Look, it's a hard game. These are all learning experiences, but I think intentionality, this is what I keep coming back to as a player, as a caster, as an analyst, everything. And this is something I struggle with too, because it's very hard. Your decisions have to be done with intentionality. I'm doing X to achieve Y, rather than I'm just sort of doing stuff and then I'll see how it works out. Have some kind of plan. It doesn't even have to be a good plan sometimes. Sometimes just the habit of having the plan is the thing. If you don't think you can finish, that's okay. You can't always finish. It's not always smart to try. But if you're not going to, think about what the game would look like if you knew from the beginning you were not going to. If you knew for a fact you weren't going to, you'd play it differently.
Banana bread.
48% on the first flirt. The gun gets shot as soon as the contact happens. So that's Yosh.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a hell of a shot. Yosh hit 6 first.
Given the troubles on Spy, it's a tremendous outcome for Yosh here, who I just kept thinking, how are they going to get a Spy win by monaters? The answer is they're not. We're going to get a Civ shot, and then we're just going to see some pretty good sniper on Yosh's part, and it seems to be enough. It's going to be enough for at least a draw here.
Yeah, and that's big.
That's
least
very
a draw.
big.
This is a lot of pressure on monaters' sniper to try to find a win. Yosh has a chance to actually win this match from the spy side of balcony. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
That is absolutely wild.
And it's Smallman.
Well, here's a test. You might not be inclined to finish missions very often, but on balcony, it's not that hard to do it necessarily. The question is, are we going to try? Or are we just going to say, balcony of all places, this is the place where I least have to finish, potentially.
34% on the first flirt.
We've gotten this far. We only need one more to score a really, really solid upset.
And no matter how this finishes up, Yosh can absolutely be proud of this match.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to keep working, though. People are going to see it, right? And you can't just hope AI's finish. So you're going to need to mix it up a little bit. The nice thing is that at this point, if you do get steady progress, people might just hold because they're going to dare you to finish. You might get some freebies in there. So there's a lot of opportunity to be had.
There's the contact. The shot comes off and Yosh gets it.
Oh my goodness, running through the raindrops all match, and Yosh somehow comes away with a win against monaters, who I'll remind you did not lose a match in the previous SCL season.
Banana bread.
Oh my goodness.
What a match.
Oh, and that's heartbreaking for monaters, who was in control of most of those games most of the time and still ended up losing outright. Obviously, for tiebreakers, the fact that they lost by the minimum could help a little bit, and there's still a really good chance monaters is going to come out of this group clean. But boy, that's a really tough loss to take, and I've been on the other side of that. It's really tough to swallow.
Yeah, absolutely.